on your lines. On your bags, you have lines from where they were folded originally, right? And so the object for me anyway is to get them back there because it's easier in the long run when I'm ready to seal them. So I match up the lines. And I just make sure to squeeze all the air out. I usually have the filter patch facing me because when I roll it up, I want the patch on the outside. Let's crunch it up nice and tight. As close to its original shape as possible. So to tuck in the sides, filter patch facing you, match up those lines. Want to have as little air in there as possible. So when you load up your bags into the autoclave or your pressure cooker, they're not going to get all puffy. Four bags rolled up, ready to go into the autoclave. Okay, so this is my dehydrator. It's nothing super special. I mean, it's a really good brand. It's Excalibur. It's kind of an older one. It doesn't have like an automatic switch off. I dry my products in here, so there's paint everywhere right now. But it's got 4 trays that go inside there. I don't ever use all 4 because the mushrooms are too big. But somebody asked me to make a video on this because there's much debate over what temperature to dehydrate. And I am going to spend about 30 seconds telling you what I dehydrate at, and then I'm going to show you guys how to do proper research to find out for yourselves. 5. So I just set it to 145, and I leave them in there until they're dry. Yeah, so for me there's no one specific, this is the only way it's done. But I just kind of put it on as high as it'll go, and then I let it do its thing. And so I found this on OfferUp. I'm pretty sure these Excaliburs, I know these Excaliburs go for a lot of money, but there's no reason why you can't have nice equipment. You don't have to have a lot of money to have nice equipment. You know, I got this used on OfferUp. I got my Autoclave used on OfferUp. I guess I'll talk quickly about exploded grains since I'm sitting here in front of the Autoclave. So my knob goes up to the number 8, and the number 7. The number 8, yeah. So when I'm first heating up my Autoclave, I put it on 6. And then I have my valve open, and the same goes if you're using a pressure cooker. You still want that pressure release, that, what do you call it, a bobber? You want that off, because you've got cold water in there when you're coming to pressure. And so when you're coming to pressure, you want to just let all that air go out. So I keep my valve open while I'm heating, so that would not be like that. It would be like this. And then once the 45 minutes or whatever has passed, and it's heated enough, then I close the valve, and I let it get to pressure. And that's when my time starts. And I also reduce my heat. So I reduce my heat to like 2 or 3. Because if you don't, well, on an autoclave, if you don't reduce your heat, it'll open up by itself and just start steam everywhere. And then everybody wakes up and nobody's happy and the cats are pissed. So, but if you're having exploded grains, the reason for that is that you're using way too much heat for way too long of a time. Like here's a bag that I just did a couple of days ago. And you'll see there are no exploded grains in here. At all. Completely. Just to be conservative. I just read a study that says psilocybin doesn't really start to degrade until about 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and I will show you that study in a moment. Okay, let's talk about research. Open any web browser and ask a question of that web browser, and you'll get a better answer than you would when you go on Reddit, I promise, or any other platform, social media platform. So at what temperature does psilocybin begin to degrade? All right. I asked a very specific question. You can ask very specific questions or very non-specific questions. But I'm going to open up a few tabs here. One of them is a study that was done, a scientific study. And one is a Reddit post. And one is a blog post or some other website. I consider it a blog. So you can tell me if this is credible. So you've got somebody that's talking about that study. They post a picture from the study. They don't post a link to the study. And then you've got people in the comments weighing in on what they think is better. A mason jar is better. Oh, wait a minute. How about a Ziploc? On the other hand, you have a report on findings from a study that was done at a university. Everything is there for you. Everything that they did, what their objective was, and what their findings were. It's all here. It tells you the why of everything, not just, oh, I like this or I like that. This tells you why and how and why. When you have something in black and white that tells you the how and the why and what they resulted with, it kind of takes the confusion out of everything. There shouldn't be a big debate over whatever, as long as there's information available that tells us about whatever and how and why. Reddit is the worst place. Any social media is the worst place because everybody's got their own little things that they do and they're going to die on that hill. I don't just want subjective information because it's not useful to me in my subjective environment. If I'm hoping to learn anything that is to be of real use to me, I want to know that there's evidence to support the claims that are being made in the publication that I'm reading. And so because of that, I limit my research to mostly medical journals, scientific research, and websites that are usually .edu or .gov. I find that a lot of people put their focus on really weird shit that is not really that important. And things start to get confusing because a bunch of confused people are reporting what they do. But because there's so much confusion, everybody's doing something differently and everybody's reporting back on something differently. And then if you're new coming into this, you're like, oh my God, there's all these different things. It's so overwhelming. That's why for me, it makes sense to take a step back and use reliable information. And that way it's not confusing. So I don't know, if it was me, think logically rather than, work smarter, not harder. Really quickly, this website on the screen is just a plagiarized version of the study that I first showed you in the beginning. Not only do they not cite their sources to back up their claims, but they also don't even give credit to the actual authors of this information that they're regurgitating. And never once do they mention where they got this information. They're just passing it off as their own. Anyhow, I'm sorry this was so boring if it was, but thank you for watching. I'm really glad you guys are watching. Please like and subscribe and share with a friend. Thank you.